To our 2023 Pāḷi Dhamma teaching series. We're very honored again to have Venerable Pāṇadika Lankara to continue the series on the profound Pāli Nikāya study and discussion on its daily applications. We're also very honored to have University of the West Religious Studies Department in California, USA, and Pāʻau Sundarabhumi, Indonesia, to co-host this series. The teaching of this series is scheduled for 1.5 hours, including Q&A. Today is part 10. Before teaching starts, here are just a few housekeeping reminders. We're using simultaneous interpretation Zoom functionality for today's teaching. First, let's briefly go over the channel selection and take a minute just to select your preferred language channel. If you see the globe icon on your Zoom screen, that is the interpretation icon. Please go there to select among English, Chinese, Indonesian, or Vietnamese, according to your language preference. If you like to listen in English, we suggest that you still go in there to select the English channel rather than just stay at off or original sound channel. Otherwise, you might not be able to hear the English interpretation from Chinese, Indonesian, or Vietnamese during the Q&A portion. If you use a cell phone or mobile device after you select a channel, make sure you click Done to complete the selection. Please go ahead and select your preferred language channel now. If you have any questions, please send it to Zoom chat room. Also, just a very quick reminder about proper Dhamma learning etiquette. Even though this is a virtual Zoom session, please dress appropriately, sit upright, and pay full attention during the teaching to show respect to the teacher and the Dhamma. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Now we're ready for the teaching. May we invite Sayadaw to start the teaching, and Interpreter Bande and Interpreter Dhamma friends to start the interpretation, please. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Welcome to Nikāya study class, and let's start our today's session reciting the Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa
Bhagavato
Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay. Yes. So today let's start our session. And this is part 10 of this Nikāya study series. And in this session, we are going to study the second part of Sonatana Sutta. This is the Nikāya number 4 Sutta. So in this Sutta, the teaching emphasizes on the qualities of true Brahmin. And yes, this is, this emphasis is different from the other Sutta. The other Sutta normally focus on the Buddhist practice. And the first Sutta focus on round view, and second Sutta explaining the resultant benefit of the ascetic life is also emphasized in the Buddhist way of practice. And so in this Sutta, the emphasis is the qualities of true Brahmin. So in previous Sutta, as a part 1 of this Sutta, we have studied about the conversation of the Sonatana and the Brahmins come from the different direction. And when they learn about Sonatana, Brahmin is going to approach to the Buddha, they call ascetic Gautama, and they suggest not to go. Other than that, the ascetic Gautama should come to Brahmin Sonatana. But the Brahmin Sonatana, he himself is expressing the Buddha's virtues, then his virtue taught by the other Brahmin. After that, he said, so even he himself cannot praise enough the virtues of the Buddha, the virtue of ascetic Gautama. He finalized his praising. Then he said, although I try my best to praise the ascetic Gautama, but I will not be qualified to praise ascetic Gautama's honors or virtues enough, because he is beyond all praise. Then the Brahmin, they remark, according to your explanation, so because you praise the ascetic Gautama so much, and the ascetic Gautama is endowed with the higher honors, higher virtues, so that the person of the clansman, the man who have the knowledge to search for one's own benefit, he should try to pay visit to see the ascetic Gautama, even if he were away from 100 yojana from the ascetic Gautama's place. I take him, the food on his shoulder bag, on the way, because this yojana, this is the measurement for the distance, how far. So generally, we can understand the one yojana is 1 day trip on foot. So even he has to travel for 100 days to reach to ascetic Gautama. It is worth, the ascetic Gautama is worth to pay visit for his virtue and honors, as you said. And they also agree that we will follow you if you go to ascetic Gautama. And they all, with the devotees from the town, and they visit together to the Buddha. Then on the way, when they come closer to their Buddha's residence and Buddha's place, and the Brahmin Sonadanda have a worrying thought. He worried about something happening, he didn't expect a fall. So the first one is he worried about to ask the question to the Buddha. And if he asks the question, so is it possible, because he does not have a confidence enough to have a proper conversation with the Buddha, then if he asks a question, so is it possible that the Buddha can reply that the Brahmin, it is not a fitting question. So you are not the right way to formulate a question. And if the Buddha respond in this way, and they accompanying Brahmin and the people from that town, they might this price. I mean, they will criticize, they will look down him because he could not formulate the question well to have a conversation with the Buddha. Then the other can criticize in this way. Sonadana is fool. He has no sense, and he could not make a fitting question to have a conversation with the ascetic Gautama. In this way, his reputation can be going down, and because other look down to his quality. And this is also possible if I ask a question. And second one is, if he does not ask any question and the ascetic Gautama, the Buddha, can ask him a question. So if he were asked by the Buddha, so he need to answer. If the Buddha does not satisfy with his answer, he might say, the Buddha might say that this is not the right way to answer for this question, because he could not have the confidence to give the proper answer to the Buddha. Then he was thinking that, oh, this might be the price meal, and my reputation or my position were going down as a Brahmin scholar. Then, okay, so to avoid the former two options, asking question to the Buddha, or he will ask the question, any question from the Buddha to answer. And if he returned back to his place without approaching to the Buddha, he was thinking of that to go back. Then if he returned after approaching to that close area to the Buddha without seeing the Buddha, if he returned to his place, and the other would think, oh, Sonadanda is really a coward, he really stupid, and he just turned away without showing himself. So all three options lead him worry, because if he was despised by the others, criticized by the other, looked down by the accompany, and his reputation will be going down with support. And if his reputation, he lost his reputation, and he will lose his income, because the income is dependent on his reputation. So he was thinking of the possibility in the conversation. So he worried, but he could not turn back. Then he approached to the Buddha, and he just palm together and sit there in front of the Buddha. But his facial expression is not good to see, because he has a worrying thought. Then the Buddha recognized him and his way of thinking. Then, and also the Sonadanda, he was expecting the Buddha asking a question about something in the area he really know. So about the field, his own field of the three Veda, because he is Vedic scholar. He knows about the Veda very well, and he has confidence in this case. So he expected any question come from the Buddha about the Veda. And because he has confidence, I could give him an answer to satisfy the ascetic karma. Then the Buddha, knowing his worry and thought and expectation to have a question from related to the Veda text, and Buddha just asked the question about the qualities of true Brahmin. So this is kindness of the Buddha. He has compassion to the Sonadanda to welcome and to have a proper conversation. Then he asked the question, and how many qualities do Brahmin recognize a Brahmin? Okay, so this is very basic question for the Brahmin scholar, because they already know how to recognize a Brahmin as a true Brahmin with the certain qualities. Then also, if the Brahmin himself, he declared, I am a Brahmin, he declared that I am Brahmin. So how many qualities can make his statement as true, not false statement? So this is a basic question asked by the Buddha to Sonadanda. That's related to the Veda. So Sonadanda, having confidence himself to talk about the Veda text or the qualities of Brahmin according to the Veda, and he straightened up this appearance. He has a confidence, and looking around the assembly, before that, his expression is not there, not like that. He was afraid of having conversation and losing his reputation and income as a result. And after listening the question of the Buddha, he became confident and he looked assembly, the people around, and bravely answered the Reverend Gautama. These are 5 qualities. Okay, so to recognize a Brahmin, we need 5 qualities according to Veda text. And he explained one by one. The first one is the Brahmin should have the pure descent up to the 7th generation from the mother's side and father's side, in both sides. He should be well born. So this is the first quality of the Brahmin, to claim himself as a true Brahmin. And also the Brahmin community will accept him as a qualified Brahmin, the first one. And second one, he should be a scholar, expert in mantra, and these qualities are already mentioned when they are talk about the virtues of the Sonadanda. The Brahmins are talking about the Sonadanda at the time. The complete expression are already mentioned. And that this is about the Vedas, the education. Then the third quality is to be handsome. So the Brahmin should be handsome and then pleasing expression and to the people. So the third quality. And the fourth quality is he should be virtuous. The moral or ethical conduct is the fourth quality. And he should avoid the taking life or stealing, etc. And the fifth one, the last one, is learned and wise in the sacrificial level. So this is not about the Vedic text. This is about the ritual. So when they made the sacrificial ritual, and only when they are learned and wise enough to lead the ceremony, and they can take the first or second position. So if a Brahmin have that quality to take the first or second quality in the sacrificial ceremony, he can be recognized as a true Brahmin by the Brahmin community. And also he can bravely claim himself as I am Brahmin. So these are 5 qualities. So the birth, descending, the pure blood, and the education and handsome, then the virtue and the knowledge about the sacrificial ceremony. So then the Buddha asked another follow-up question. So if you talk about the 5 quality of Brahmin, so for example, if someone have only 4 of them, omitting one of these 5 qualities, still is it possible to recognize him as a true Brahmin or not? The Buddha asked with 4 quality to recognize as Brahmin. Then the Sonadanda answer is yes, it is possible. It is possible. So if he has to recognize a Brahmin with 4 quality, what should be omitted first? I mean, the less important qualities. The less important quality he take out as the appearance. So appearance, his handsome appearance is nothing to do. If we recognize the Brahmin with the 4 quality, according to Brahmin Sonadanda, he will put aside the quality of handsome appearance. So then the Buddha continue, okay, so if you recognize 3, is it possible? Yeah, still possible. So what quality can be put aside or can let it go? So the mantra, the second one is mantra. So we can see according to the order he put aside, he leave for the true Brahmin, which one is less important and which are the more important. Then the second one, mantra, although he is not really expert in mantra, still okay here. We can recognize by three qualities. Three qualities. The other three qualities are the path and the virtue and wisdom. Three. So Buddha continue. If we still keep omitting another one by only two out of these three, still possible or not? And he's keep saying that possible. Possible. So which one is path? I mean, although he is not pure descent from the mother and father side, okay, if he has the virtuous and learner wise enough to take the first and second position of the sacrificial ladder, so he can be still recognized as a Brahmin by two qualities of virtue and we can say the wisdom here according to that. Virtue and knowledge. So in this case, because according to the Brahmin text, the Brahmin should be recognized by five qualities. So the text explained. And the other Brahmin also, they have learned that. That's why when Sonadana omit the three qualities one by one, and the other Brahmin, they raise the objection. They raise the objection. So don't say that. Don't say that. It is not true. If you talk in this way, we can recognize the Brahmin with 4 or 3 or 2 qualities. This is not true. And so this is a kind of decline or disrespect to the appearance and mantra and the path. So Reverend Sonadana, you are following to the ascetic Gautama because he lead this conversation, actually adopting his own one, because he asked to omit the quality. So you're trying to omit. By doing so, you decry the appearance, mantra, and path already. Then they cannot tolerate anymore. So they interrupt. By this interruption, the Buddha and Brahmin Sonadana could not continue their conversation. Then the Buddha says, so if as the Buddha's talk in case of Ambata. So if you guys are thinking that the Brahmin Sonadana is qualifying to talk with me, if you are thinking that he is lacking in wisdom or not fit to have a conversation with the ascetic Gautama, if you are thinking that and you talk, or if you think the Brahmin Sonadana is wise enough to have a conversation with me, so you keep silent, let him speak. So the Buddha just said, because the other Brahmin already praised the Brahmin Sonadana before they came to the Buddha. Then they cannot say the Brahmin Sonadana is lacking in wisdom or not fit for conversation. And in that case, so the Brahmin Sonadana also take his own responsibility. So don't bother Reverend Gautama. So he just said, with respect, I can manage. So I will answer in this manner to these Brahmin. So he can manage because he is really a smart and smarter than the other Brahmin. That's why he has answer. He has solution to talk with the other Brahmin. So the Brahmin Sonadana, he just said there, you guys are talking there, told me and don't say they, and you are adopting the ascetic Gautamai's Owa and like this. But actually, he just saw that himself, I'm standing on my Owa. I have the clear understanding about this. You want to talk. Then, so let's see here in that assembly, in this audience, the nephew of Sonadanda, which is called Angaka, the man was sitting in that assembly. Then the Brahmin Sonadanda indicating to the Angaka, he said to the Brahmin assembly, the other Brahmin, so do you see him? Do you see Angaka? Okay, yes. So let's see his position. So he is really handsome. The Angaka is the handsome guy. So very good looking and fair complexion. How nice is we can compare his appearance like the Brahma. So Brahma is high in the being in the higher realm of existence and very beautiful. So in this assembly, except the ascetic Gautama, nobody can match with him, his appearance. So he's really handsome. I mean, the Angaka is handsome, but still cannot compare to the Buddha's appearance. But beside the Buddha, he's the most handsome man. Okay, so he is really handsome, and the first quality he has completed. And for another one, he is really getting in this college position in the mantra, because I am a mantra teacher. Teaching him, I know well about his knowledge about mantra. So this is another qualities. And also, I know his parents and his caste, how purified, how pure his descents, and Brahmin descendants. So he was well born. So this is another one. He has three qualities. Okay, so having three qualities here, if Angaka, he wants to take life, a chameleon, if 5 brisa, no more virtuous man, although he has the other three qualities, so he take a life, or he still taking something is not given to him, and committing adultery, the third one, and telling lie, fourth one, and drinking strong drink. So these are 5 brisa. So he said, having three qualities of handsome and education in the mantra and well-born, if he commit 5 brisa or any of them, so what we can regard him, or that to keep him as a true Brahmin, the qualities of good looking or education in mantra or the well-born, he cannot profit to maintain his position of true Brahmin by these three qualities. If he lost his virtue, then so because the Brahmin is virtuous, he is wise. So the wise also connected. So the taking the position of first or second in the sacrificial ladder also connected to the virtue. If he lost his virtue, and also he can be considered as unwise person. So he cannot be a complete the less qualities if he lost the virtue. So that's why I declare that these two points of the virtuous and the being wise in the sacrificial test in the ceremony. So we can recognize him as a Brahmin, true Brahmin, or he can declare as I am Brahmin by two qualities. Other than three, I omitted. I had omitted. So the Brahmin Sonadana explained about the reason why he could omit the other three qualities. Then at that time, the Buddha asked the question, okay, so you say that two qualities or 2 points are important to recognize the Brahmin as a true one, true Brahmin, or to see himself as I am Brahmin. So is it possible only one of them, so omitting any one of them, the virtues or the wisdom, and the Buddha asked, then the answer is no. No, if he omitted any of these 2 qualities or 2 points, he cannot be recognized as a true Brahmin anymore. Or if he claimed with only one quality as I am a Brahmin, I'm a true Brahmin, it is not true. It is a false statement. So this is the objection of the Sonadana, because he explained why he keeps 2 of them the most important and indispensable cannot be omitted. And the reason is for wisdom. So to purify, wisdom needs morality. So wisdom is purified by morality. In order to purify wisdom, he needs morality. And also to purify morality, and he needs the power of wisdom. He needs the power of wisdom. So this is the statement, the explanation given by the Brahmin Sonadana, because these 2 aspects or 2 qualities of wisdom and moralities, they are supporting each other. That is why if one has wisdom, one has the morality, he can be regarded as a wise person. Yeah, because the one who has moral precepts, he is qualified to have the wisdom. It means the morality support the wisdom in his theory. And also the wise man should have the morality. So yeah, the wise man, to recognize a person as a wise man, I mean, he should know what are the moralities and how to complete the morality, how to maintain the position of morality. This is necessary quality. So the combination of morality and wisdom can be considered in the highest quality in this world. So if, according to, up to now, the Brahmin Sonadana is giving his statement. That's why, according to the Sonadana Brahmin, so if someone went to be in highest position, he cannot omit any of these 2 qualities of morality and wisdom. Then only when he can combine the morality and wisdom together, then he can be in the highest position. So he gave the example. So if we went to wash our hand or food, so we use the other hand to wash our hand. So left to right and right to left. So wisdom and morality needs one to another to purify one to another. Then need to be combined, 2 powers or 2 qualities. So in this way, the Brahmin Sonadana explained to the Brahmin and also to answer the Buddha that the 2 quality of morality and wisdom cannot be omitted anymore. And by these 2 qualities, one can be a true Brahmin, or can be in the highest position of the world. So Buddha say the Brahmin, if the wisdom, so the Buddha just repeated to agree with the Brahmin Sonadana. That's why the first statement is given by the Brahmin Sonadana according to his understanding about the Veda text. And the second one approved by the Buddha and give the agreement by the Buddha. That is why we can understand this statement also as the Buddhist statement, Buddha Dhamma, one of the Buddha Dhamma, because the true nature can be shared in different tradition or different religion. So we cannot say because this is belong to the other tradition or other religion, it is not true. We cannot say that because sometimes the wise people can understand, can comprehend the right things together. So Buddha also gave the statement, yeah, the same thing. The wisdom is purified by morality, and morality is purified by wisdom. So then, after giving the same statement, the combination of morality and wisdom is called highest thing. Then Buddha continued asking about the specific explanation about the morality and wisdom. What is morality and what is wisdom in this case to say? But although the Brahmin and the Buddha giving the same statement, but the reference of the morality and wisdom can be different. So the Brahmin can say the morality this, and the wisdom is this quality, this kind of understanding. Especially for the wisdom, he mentioned that the wise and learned in the sacrificial letters. So his reference about wisdom will be different from the Buddha's reference about the word wisdom. That's why he does not like to answer. He did not like to answer this question. Then, so we only know this much. Then he already satisfied because compared to the other Brahmin in this assembly, he has already showed up himself. I have the outstanding knowledge than the others, and with the explanation about he has given. That's why he pretty much satisfied with him. Then he does not try to follow or to the question where he cannot reach enough to satisfy the Buddha. That's why he just stopped there. He also pretty wise, knowing his position, his level, his place. So just say we only know this. So if the Reverend Gautama explain the meaning of these two explanations of morality and wisdom, it will be good. It requests to the Buddha to explain about these two qualities. So Buddha also explain, I will explain. So listen carefully about, because it can, if they don't pay attention enough, and they can misunderstand the morality and wisdom. So the Buddha let them know to pay attention and taking full attention, starting from. This all are the same repetition already in the second sutta of the Nikāya. So sutta number 2, the sutta number 2, the Samanyaphala Sutta, starting from the appearance of the enlightened Buddha in the world. So in the world, and after learning Dhamma, he could get the faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and he tried to get into the order, and he followed the Buddha's instruction, and gradually he practiced. Then finally he reached to the wisdom. This is the way how the Silakhana Vagga, this book of Nikāya, emphasized. So most of the sutta emphasizing in this process, this sequence of practice. Then after explanation about the the moralities aspect, including the 16 law, etc. And the Buddha conclude that that is morality I refer to. Maybe the Brahmin Sonadana is referring to the morality is just for the 5 precepts or like this, or maybe with more information about the morality mentioned in the Brahmin's text or Veda text. But the Buddha just repeat the complete set of the, as you may remember, these are the moralities, three session of morality and 16 law. After that, and contentment, and this, then the removal of the 5 hindrances. After that, the next one is about the jhana. So if he attained the jhana and continue practicing the insight, etc. So finally reaching to the cessation of the corruption, the asavakkhaya jnana, then at that time the Buddha say, this is wisdom, what I said. According to Buddha explanation, the morality and wisdom are these two, now referring to the same statement given by the Brahmin Sonadana about the morality and wisdom. Okay, so these are already explained, and you can review the second sutta. Then, as the final part, the Brahmin Sonadana also satisfied with the Buddha's teaching, although they are not referring to the same qualities of morality and wisdom, but he paid attention and he satisfied the Buddha's teaching. And also he decided to take refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha to claim himself as a disciple of the Buddha. So he has invited for the next day the alms offering, so meal offering to the Buddha and his disciple to his house. And after that, the next day, the Buddha went to Brahmin Sonadana's house for lunch, and having offered to the Buddha, served by the lunch, and the Brahmin Sonadana make the special request. Here you see the Brahmin Sonadana just explain about his situation, because he is relying on the income is through the reputation. So reputation is very important for him. That's why he could not let himself lose his reputation. Then he's worried if they meet each other, Buddha and himself, the Brahmin Sonadana meet in the assembly anywhere. So he, being a disciple, because he is taken refuge, he became a disciple. But being a disciple, he should respect or pay respect to the teacher, so to the master. So he should raise himself and salute to the Buddha. But if he does so, his reputation will going down in the Brahmin community, and based on that, the income also, he will lose his income. And that's why he explained, after that, he make the negotiation, if I join my palms together in the greeting position, greeting manner, so the Buddha, the teacher, you can consider me as the raising from my seat. So actually, he will not raise himself from his seat, but he will join his palms together to pay respect to the Buddha. But in that case, if the Brahmin community or non-Buddhist people criticize him, so why you respect to the ascetic Gautama in this way? He can say, oh, just come together, as a greeting. This is the tradition, even in nowadays, the non-Buddhists also doing. So he can excuse himself. So this is not bound down. I just respect, you can say. So it it's even thinking that if the Buddhist people complain, so you claim yourself as the disciple, why don't you raise from your seat when you see the master? And he will say, oh, because I'm pumped together, I join my pump together. This can be considered as respect. So like same as the giving a seed or raising up myself from seed, he is making this system to escape from different sides to maintain his reputation and income. Then the second one, okay, so if I take off my turbans, my headwear, my head, so please consider as my bound down to Buddha, to master. So actually he will not bound down to the Buddha in assembly. Maybe in the private area he will do, but in the assembly he will not do. He does not like to do that for losing his reputation and income. So then this is association in the assembly. So what about if we see on the road, so encountering on the way, going somewhere, so because he is going by the courage, so if he get down from the courage and pay respect to the Buddha, and the same criticize will come. That's why you just say, if I want to alight to salute the Buddha, the same thing will come. So I will raise my goat, staying on my courage. So you consider there's as a light from my courage also getting down like this. If I raise up my goat, then also if I lower my head, just to show the manner of lower or keeping lower position of head, he will do that. So, but from the master's side, with the kindness, please consider it is like a bound down, equal to the bound down my head to your feet, with all respect. So this is his way of paying respect, not to the to the here and there the person, or not to the ordinary person. And to the Buddha himself, he has negotiation of giving his respect to the Buddha, but the Buddha didn't say anything, it is good or it is not good, or Buddha didn't say, and just keep silent and give a Dhamma talk, and he left. So because the Sonodana himself, he has attachment to the reputation, incomes, and also he still have the pride, very strong pride conceit, mana. So he could not attain any level of enlightenment, because he has this kind of nature. This nature are very strong enough to block his enlightenment. So he could not get any enlightenment after listening to the Buddha. Then here the Buddha say the same statement. The one who has the wisdom, and he has a morality, and one who has morality, he has a wisdom. So morality and wisdom need the other qualities to purify itself. So in this case, we can understand that if someone has the moral conduct or morality practice, living in the virtuous life, although he could not attain throughout the life, and still have a chance near, come closer to the death moment, and if he really practice, and he can easily, or he can quickly be enlightened by the support of moral precept, keep him purified in his practice. Then another case, what about the wisdom, the purification of morality? So for some people, although they are not that virtuous, and when they encounter the Buddha or the great, sense of understanding in Dhamma, even in short time, like some people, they just encounter before the, and they could not keep themselves in the virtuous statement, like the minister santati like this. And this kind of person, after listening to the Buddha's teaching or after listening to the very influential Dhamma teaching and absorbing that, and then they could enlighten, they could understand the noble truth, and the wisdom go higher. After that, the morality also become purified and well preserved afterward. So in this case, we can understand the wisdom purifying the morality. And if someone keep practicing moral precept until he could reach to the attainment of enlightenment, the wisdom stage, and we can understand that is the purification of wisdom through the practice of moral precept. Okay, so this all in this sutta. So 5 qualities, and why these are some of them are dispensable and some of them are indispensable. So we can take some idea from there and compare to laws or something. For example, the appearance and education and the others. So we can keep the importance of this quality in our life. And so the most important qualities are virtues and wisdom, so that we should try to maintain in their moral conducts and the knowledge in our life, in our daily life, so that we can reach to the higher and higher position as much as we can. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and let's continue to the next session. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sayadaw, for your teaching. We have about 27 minutes left. Maybe after we make a few announcements, we can open the floor for some more questions. Thank you, Sayadaw. Thank you, Sayadaw. So just a few announcements. During each session, Sayadaw will explain the outline of every sutta one by one. There is homework assignment for this Nikāya study series. For our next homework assignment, Sayadaw would like us to continue in reading the translated 5th sutta of Nikāya in your preferred language to prepare ourselves for before the next study session in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. I think it's in 2 weeks. Please feel free to take notes during your readings. Any questions, please submit to our email address at americadhammasociety@gmail.com. Will be answered accordingly. Here's the Google Drive link, as you see on the screen, and you can access the Pāli, English, Chinese, Burmese, Indonesian, and Vietnamese version of the Nikāya. On the link, you can also access the lecture notes for this teaching series. Lecture notes are also translated to Chinese, Indonesian, and Vietnamese. We have posted this link in the chat room, but again, you see on the screen, but also in the chat room. You can copy it, the link. Otherwise, you can also reach out to us for this link. In 2 weeks at the same time, we will have Sayadaw Pāṇadikālankara continue this Nikāya study series, part 11. We sincerely thank Sayadaw Kumara Vivansa, who had completed the 25 inspiring teachings on the Buddha's last days. He will start the new Dhamma Zoom teaching series for Pāʻaw, Georgia in 3 weeks. The topic and detail of this teaching series will be announced soon. Please don't forget to check out our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. We have YouTube playlists for Nikāya study, teaching, and Q&A. And you are also welcome to send us any further suggestions or inquiries. Please contact us. Our contact information is on the screen, either by email at americadhammasociety@gmail.com or on WeChat. Our WeChat ID is TSAE101. You can also check us out on the website. So, our sincere thanks to our co-host, University of the West Religious Studies Department in California, USA, and Pāḷi Sundarabhumi, Indonesia.